Okay, people. So the whale, right? This has been talked about so much, right? Up for all these awards and everything like that. So I was interested to check it out, right? And yeah, that's what I did, right? It is directed by Aaron Aronofsky, written by Samuel D. Hunter. The film is produced by Aronofsky and Jeremy Dawson, along with Ari Handel. It's executive produced by Scott Franklin and Tyson Bidner, and associate produced by Dylan Golden, Brendan Naylor, and Jeff Robinson. Rob Simonson handles the music. Matthew Libaquack is on cinematography. Andrew Weisblum edits the piece. Lindsey Graham and Mary Venu are on casting. Production design, we got Mark Friedberg and Robert Pajuka. Art direction is Chirizama Aruchi. Set decoration is Lisa Scapa. Costume design is Danny Glicker. Hair and makeup, prosthetics, we've got Kathy Tiz, Jean-Francis Simard, Shane Shishaboran, Adrian Marron, Chris Gallagher, Donald Francis, Judy Chin, Anna Marie Bradley Sharon, Mandy Bissetti, Stephanie Ashton, and Nina Anton. With our cast, Charlie is played by Brendan Fraser. His ex-wife Mary is played by Samantha Moulton. His estranged daughter Lily is played by Sadie Sink. His best and only friend, it would seem, is Liz, played by Hong Chao. We have got JC Sink playing a young Ellie. We then have Ty Simpkins, who plays Thomas, a religious door knocker person. And we have Safa Siduraharan, who plays Dan the Pizza Man. So the gist of this is Idaho 2016. Scarred by the profound wounds of grief and guilt, couch-bound Charlie, an online writing instructor, English teacher, living with chronic obesity, now has a crystal clear view of his secret intentions. And confined to his claustrophobic and musty apartment, the self-destructive shut-in has all the time in the world to contemplate the damaging thoughts of the past, fatherhood, and reconciliation. Because more than anything, flawed Charlie longs for communication and reconnection. After all, he hasn't spoken to his estranged, angry teenage daughter Ellie in years. But everyone knows whales don't live in the shallows. Do love and forgiveness have the power to wipe away the tears and painful mistakes of a lifetime? This, this is interesting, right? You look at the response to the film, and there's a load of people talking about a load of different things, right? Saying that this film is a masterpiece, or saying they should have had an obese actor play the role, right? There's so many different kind of reactions to it, right? Talking about, Charlie being this heartfelt character and everyone should feel for him, and you know, the won a number of awards. Interestingly enough, most of the awards go to Brendan Fraser and Anna Aronofsky, right? I mean, we don't really, we don't really see Hong Chow. I think she might have won one award, nominated, doesn't really win anything, right? Which I find interesting, very interesting. Now, for me, this film, I don't know, man. Like, I thought tonally, right, visually, it looked good, right? It works. It should be a dark, like, just eerie, musky looking thing. As we're dealing with someone who's shut in their apartment, right? Doesn't move, right? He's 600 pounds. 600 pounds. Boy. Right? So, yeah. You think, you know, the look is good. Man, I was just very conflicted about everything else, to be honest with you, right? I should say it is an adaptation of a play from 2012 that Samuel D. Hunter wrote as well. Now it'd be curious to know how the play was, you know, what was changed, if anything, you know. I mean, the big thing is there's, you know, a lot here, right? We get Charlie lamenting that he's just always wanted to reconnect with his daughter and just never had an opportunity. Never had an opportunity. And, you know, he's saving money for her and just there's all of these different things, right? He's eating because of the suicide of his boyfriend. But I mean, firstly, you wonder what the time frame is of the death of his boyfriend Alan to this moment, right? What is that? Now it has to be it definitely has to be a while because you wouldn't put on that much weight in like a month or so. You know what I mean? That takes a while to put on. You know, and when I say a while, I'm, you know, not necessarily 10 years, but at least, you know, we're talking over a year, 2 years, most likely. I would say. I'm not a doctor. But we don't really get that mentioned, right? We don't really get why is Lizzie's best friend? You know, we don't really get these answers. And during the film, some of the things that Charlie says turned out not to necessarily be completely true, right? But it's treated still that Charlie is just this, you know, open guy, always trying to see the positive in the world and just all of this. And you just be like, I don't know. Right? I don't know if I can believe any of that, especially when you see the lies, you know, which again, not really addressed. Things just never really get addressed. We get sad music, you know what I mean, to try and go, oh, this moment is sad. And you're just like, we don't need the music. I felt it's very heavy handed in place trying to get these points across to people. And I really thought we might get some honest conversations, right? Because you have Liz coming in to help him. We don't really know the frequency, but she brings him food. You know, he's ordering pizza a lot. She's bringing him subs and all of this kind of thing. and we never get an answer why, right? There's, you can see he's fat, you can see he's overweight, you know it's not healthy. She's a fucking nurse, so why she keep on bringing him food? You know, there's that. But when his daughter turns up, you know, she's like, "You're disgusting," and I think an interesting part was she's just like, "Oh, and I don't just mean your weight. Even if you weren't that big, you'd still be disgusting." And so I thought we might get some honest conversations here, but we don't really. I mean, we don't at all, you know, because it's just him going, "Oh, but Ellie, you're brilliant. You're amazing. You should know you're amazing." And you're just like, but he doesn't know her, right? This is the thing. He doesn't know her. He hasn't seen her in years. Hasn't seen her in years. But we just get these statements rolled out like, "Oh, she's amazing. Like, she's an incredible writer." And you're just like, the essays that she wrote, I mean, it's not amazing, right? It's a perspective on something, but there's so many different perspectives you can have on these things, right? He's an English teacher. So it's baffling how it's like, this is amazing, or these are the most honest things that you could say when you're teaching young people, right? You're teaching young people. So you know, the mind hasn't even fully stopped growing yet. Your opinions change, right? So the thing they say might not even be true tomorrow. You know what I mean? So making these huge sweeping statements is an odd thing from an English teacher, right? It's an odd thing to say. And just the whole teaching thing is 2016. So I wondered, when you see, because he has his camera off when he's teaching. So I'm like, is this during the pandemic? Is this what this is meant to be? Something like that? I don't know. But no, it's set in 2016. So I'm like, what school, right? What institute would let a teacher do that? Because you would think, right, that these classes, you know, classes get audited, that someone would just stop by just to look, right? Just to make sure everything is being taught properly and, you know, all of this. And they would see the camera off and be like, "Yo, can't have your camera off, right? Can't have your camera off. Like, this is weird." You know, the name is instructor. Again, you'd think it would be Mr., you know, the name. There's so many things that don't really make that much sense, right? And he's saying, no, I can't say that. That's towards the end of the film, so that would be giving too much away, I guess. Though I don't really feel it has much on the story, but anyway, yeah, there's just it's a film that looks to be trying to, you know, tell a story about regret, choices, grief, religion, acceptance, all of these different things. But I just didn't really feel it does it incredibly well, right? It just felt flawed. It just felt like it didn't really want to do a proper analysis of the situation, right? Didn't want to do an actual thought piece, an honest story. As an honest story, you would have thought that people would be talking to him before he hit 600, right? Before he hit 600. Like, why? That's the big thing that should have been there. Like, why did no one go, yo, I ain't bringing you food, I ain't helping, I'm calling the local authority? You know what I mean? Like, someone to come check this out, because you need help. You need help, right? Because he's got pulleys on the ceiling. So who put the pulleys in? This is the thing. It's just like, wait, who adapted the house? You know what I mean? Like, who did those things to allow him to do this? Like, who bought the long thing to clean himself with? We don't know, right? It's just never addressed. It's never there. But we're dealing with this guilt, right? We're meant to be dealing with this loss. He's eaten himself to this size because of loss. But was there any therapy? Right? Did he see a counselor to try and get over that loss? Like, what happened? Right? What were the interventions that were tried? What were the processes that he attempted before he just gave up? Right? What were they? We don't know. We don't know. Right? And I think we've come across obese people before. Everyone's come across obese people before. It's not like, oh my God, I've never seen someone that size before. So there's a point when there's all of this shock, and I'm just like, I don't believe there would be that much surprise. Right? Well, there's a couple of occasions where there's this surprise. I don't believe it would be that, because again, we've come across obese people, right? And if you're going to a place and no one's opening the door, right? There's a reason why people don't open the door. So I don't think there would be a shock about that, right? You'd think obese, you'd think like I don't know, some sort of scarring, disfigurement, something like that. But there's not really a shock to it. So I just think the story, there should have been more, right? There should have been more to it. It just feels like it wanted to dip its toe into something, right? Wanted to dip its toe in and go, look, we're telling a story about an obese person, but we're not going to be mean about it. We're going to, try and attempt to show their story. I just don't think it does that. I don't think it does that. But, this film won a shitload of awards, right? Won a shitload of awards. So I'm probably wrong, right? My opinion doesn't necessarily mean anything, these things are subjective. I'm sure all of you may watch this film and think differently to me, but yeah, that's what I get when I watch this film. We have some decent performances for sure, right? I think Hong Chao's performance, you can see she comes across very downtrodden, right? But I'm not like Fraser. Again, you just have him like, having these health issues, right? But then being all super, like, you're amazing, Ellie. Oh, Ellie, you're so great. And oh, I'm sorry, I was in love and blah, blah, blah. But he had an affair, right? Had an affair, right? I don't really care, right? You're gay, you're straight, it doesn't really matter. But cheating, shitty. It's as simple as that. You know what I mean? So you got the daughter. Again, there's so many issues with that, right? Sadie, she does a decent role with the kid, but I think the character doesn't really have a lot. There's not a lot there, right? There's all these issues going on that never really get addressed. I mean, everyone's a bit of a shit. No one's really that likable in this film. There's issues with every single person, which is fine because no one is perfect. But no one's things get addressed. No one's things get addressed. That's my thing. But you know, I mean, to be honest, my reaction to the film doesn't necessarily surprise me because I thought Moby Dick was a terrible book. You know what I mean? So that's this kind of anchor to the story, but I thought Moby Dick sucked. So yeah. People, right? You can watch this film everywhere, you know. It's now on Prime. That's where I watched it. But yeah, I mean, I'm curious to know what everyone else thinks, man. So let me know what you thought of this. I was not overly convinced. It felt beached. Felt like it was beached. If we are sticking with our whale analogies, you know what I mean? But you may think something else, right? But yeah, the whale. The whale. Hey, one other thing though, I will say, for someone that way who clearly does not move a lot, the skin looked a lot better than you feel it should do, right? He talks about the sores and all of this. I don't really think it was that visible. I do have shit eyesight though, so maybe it was, but I just couldn't see it. But yeah, I wasn't overly convinced on that front either. But hey, not every film is gonna blow us away. So yeah, people, the whale.